I still
walk
insist.
to
You
the-
lead the way, Ronald.
I walk to the gates.
You walk to the front door.
Mhm.
The presence of the palace, like as you get closer, you can still see your breath a little bit, a lot of it. You place your hand on the door, and it's cold. Push it open. And in front of you is a massive entryway and throne room. You enter into a massive room. It's hundreds of feet deep. 100-ish, 200-ish, maybe 300-ish feet deep, who knows. To the edges, you can see there are columns, enormous columns, and at the edges of the columns, it looks like the world fades into complete night. There is a carpet of sorts, or at least a motif on the floor below you. It is black as the night sky, and it leads up to a major motif in the center of the room. And at the far end of the room sits a throne that dominates your view. A throne made entirely of ice, as if one snowflake was expanded thousands of times its natural size. And a figure sits on the throne.
I look at the figure.
She's very far away. I don't have a mini for her, because how could I? She's gonna be the C20. You hear with your ears as much as you feel the cool voice. Welcome. Do come in. Please. As my guest, approach.
I walk forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You'll walk forward. As you walk forward through the throne room, you see in between the columns, you see pairs of eyes, and you seem almost to see bodies. The queen is joined on her throne, not on her throne, but beside her throne. Out steps from behind the throne, an individual clad in black mail, not black mail, black plate, with a helmet, a dark helmet. You feel as if shifting in the shadows and darkness to the edges of the room, you feel there are just the presence of many, many individuals. You almost hear, as if in another room, voices talking, like a ballroom's worth of chatter, but just one room away. That'll do. You approach. As you approach across this is entirely black. This motif in the center of the floor, you see 3 large circles. They remind you of the moons in the sky. And as you're walking across it, they shift subtly. They move across this. It's tiled floor. They even move within it. You can see deep in the mosaic tiny bits of starlight twinkling. As you approach across, the figure sitting on the throne comes into view. She is stoic, calm, pale skin and white hair. She wears a God, to call it a gown or a dress doesn't do it justice. It's as if ice and darkness and air incarnate dress her. As she sits, it appears to move the way a subtle breeze drifts through the trees, the way intense gales blow a flag in the wind. You feel all of that move through her presence. She is astoundingly beautiful, terrifyingly beautiful. Her eyes, as they settle upon you, unblinking, you can see in the irises, they're almost as dark as a pupil, but you see moving within them starlight, moonlight, ice. She is she is snow white of skin, and her hair is as well, just this beautiful white. Occasionally you could see a single streak of black that appears to move and be gone. Standing at her left hand side, his figure in dark mail with a shield on his left arm, appears to be a male. This dark plate. The shield in this room that is not quite lit. It's almost as if you're standing in moonlight incarnate all around you. Across the front of the shield glints a snowflake, a whole large snowflake, and it isn't a state. It's not as if someone painted a snowflake. It is an ever changing, ever altering snowflake. You approach, and before you, the Queen of Air and Darkness says, "Welcome. You bear my mark. My daughter told me of 3 adventurers who ultimately decided in our favor, but I have not. I'm, to say, confused as the why the one who did not stand up for my peoples bears my mark." And she looks at you, Alfonz. And she looks at Ilikhal. She goes, "Your name is Ilikhal. Is that correct?"
Yes.
And she smiles. And it's equally like incredibly charming, but she has her canines stand out like a wolf, like a predator. She says, "Yes, Ilikhal, one who was born for winter, it appears. I know your peoples well. I like you very much." And she looks at Alfonz and she goes, "And one from not here, from quite far away. You don't belong in this world. I wonder what you would give up to go home." She looks you up and down. Then her eyes fall on Pilot. "And then you. Back again. With a different pair this time. You're confused. I do wonder what you remember. Do you remember my face?"
I look at her circle bracelet, her ice bracelet.
Yes. She's wearing lots of jewelry. She as well has that same circlet. It appears a circlet of ice and snow across her brow. Mantle of a queen. But now the question does become, What brings you three into my realm? You must have come a long way. And at such an inopportune time. I'm incredibly busy. She chuckles, and like it's the sound of beautiful music. Like you suddenly feel compelled to you want to hear that laughter a million times over. It's the sound of wind chimes in the breeze. It is like your heart swells to hear that small chuckle. Truly though, what brings you three here?
At this point, I don't even know.
Yeah.
We're just kind of here.
I guess,
I
yeah. I push Pilot forward and just be like, we're here with our friend.
Pilot, you, in a moment, in hearing the voice, in hearing and seeing the Queen of Air and Darkness, the Queen of Winter in front of you, you hear a second voice. You are transported out of this moment to another moment. You are standing behind and to the right of someone. You hear a voice and it says, Queen Mab, we come to ask a favor. We are aware of what it may cost. And you hear that laughter again. And you recall, in front of you stands a figure in a hood, in a cloak, dressed for winter. You cannot see their face. They are in front of you. And you see Queen Mab not upon her throne. You see Queen Mab in front of a stone table. Across the stone table from her is another individual dressed in green and gold with fiery red hair. And you recall this individual saying, we beg the help of the Fae in this endeavor. We will pay the cost. We understand. And after that moment, you were transported back into this moment, and you were standing again in front of the Queen of Air and Darkness. And she has not aged a day. You do not know how long it has been since that last visit.
I look at her directly in the eyes.
Okay. She
And-
sees she looks right back at you. And it is unwavering. You feel the weight of that gaze in that moment. And it's heavy. Those eyes have seen a lot, if not it all.
What did I pay?
She looks quizzically. You? Pay? No. You don't remember anything, do you? Oh. And she sits back, like as if slightly confused. You don't remember at all. Very interesting. Though it has been some time since I've seen one of your kind. Perhaps those memories are locked away. She goes, I could unlock them for a price. Then you would pay.
What would I pay?
That all depends. Sweet child. She stands up, and the figure at her side like stiffens and like becomes like rigid. He looks as if he's ready to act, and she gracefully descends the dais. Is it a dais? It is to some
Yeah.
extent. She descends down the set of stairs, and she walks up, and she touches your face, and it is like just being barely grazed by a breeze, but at the same time you can feel the depth of cold, of frozen. And she looks deep into your eyes, and you feel her see everything that you remember now. You feel her see through your memories. You feel her pass through the past day, the past month, the past few months. You feel her feel you wake up in a snowbank in the far north. That crawling out of the deep snow, becoming aware of your entire being, the blinding light of the snow, of the sun on the snow, and this desire that you're in the wrong place. You have to this one beacon in your existence far to the south. Looking down and noticing you wear no clothing, no anything, and taking that first step into the snow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. And then you're back. And she's looking deep into your eyes. Oh, I see. Well, now, seems there's a lot to fill you in on. And that's quite a big favor.
Please.
Perhaps. And she kind of like strolls away. She strolls around you. Just like it is like you've ceased to exist in that moment. Uninterested immediately. She walks up to Alfonz. And she walks around you. She goes, "A wizard from far away." And she just kind of circles you. And in a moment you feel admired, but also you feel as if you were being circled by a mountain lion. Like equally, your measure is being taken, and perhaps you will be attacked. You feel this presence of this woman, this fae, and it's scary in a way. And she finishes her circle around you and says, And she looks at your owl, looks at you, and looks you in the eye, and says, "Who sits at the head of the table of Vario now, I wonder? Without you there." And you hear in your mind echo, "I know. These things I know, and I could tell you for a price." And she steps away. And she paces around you, Ilikhal. And she goes, "A Goliath of the mountain. It has been quite too long since one of you has visited my court. I think I would like for you to stay." And she reaches up and she touches you on the cheek. And in that moment, you see yourself clad in black armor as the same as the night sky. You see yourself wielding immense power of winter. You feel that you could command all of nature. He goes, "You could be my knight." I would like that much. You feel in that voice, in that offer, you feel the winds coming off of the peaks of the highest mountains of the storm range. You feel every blizzard you have ever endured. And every ounce of strength it took to get through it. You feel like that could be you. You could be the blizzard. You could be the peaks of the mountain. You could be the gusts of wind. And you want it. You want that power. You crave that power. You feel, and then it's gone in a moment, and you feel empty. Like it has all been stripped from you in a moment. You feel weak. And as she walks away, you hear in your head, I could give you that power. It would be nothing. And she comes back to Pilot, and she walks back up to her throne, and she takes a seat, and she crosses her legs. And she says, what a trio. And the individual beside her goes, my queen, please, may I ask the boon? She goes, fine, fair enough. And this individual in full black armor, he removes his helmet. And in front of you see standing a drow. Older than the drow you met earlier. You see wrinkles at the edges of his eyes. A much sterner face. Like he's seen much more life. Much more. He has a scar along his left cheek. Kind of a backward C shape. I don't know. A crescent shaped scar. There we go. He as well has long white hair. No mohawk. It is all the way around. And it appears to be gathered in a ponytail or a braid that runs down his back. He goes, the Summer Queen did not meet for the exchange of power today as she was supposed to. We do not know what occurred. We've sent a messenger. But this is highly upsetting. We cannot bring our power to bear upon the lands of summer without it being considered an act of war. We are afraid. I am afraid. He looks back at the queen because she raises an eyebrow at the we are afraid. Because I am afraid they assembled their forces to attack. From each day forward until the summer solstice, our power weakens. I know not what Titania's armies can do. We know not why she did not show up for the exchange as she does every equinox. And we need someone to investigate. Someone not of our court. My son was sent to bring a message, but we were unsure of his success.
We encountered your son on the road. He seemed to be attacked by 3 dryad, and he mentioned that it was rather abrupt. That is, we helped him in the encounter, and he went off through the portal. That is all the news that we have.
You see him, he stands up a little straighter. Make an insight check, all 3.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, very good.
Dirty 20 as well.
Very good.
Why can I never find insight?
I'm like in a trance right now.
17.
Are you there? 17. Those are all good. You see, when you say we met him, We helped him find the way through. When you say he was attacked, you see small ticks in his face. We met him, and there's like a inhale. He said he was attacked. There's a fear. We helped him find his way, and then there was just like this behind the eyes incredible amount of worry. This individual, whose name you do not know, he cares for his son immensely, probably. His son, who is serving in a job that perhaps once he did before coming to stand at the Queen's side. And the Queen again, she goes, "Now, Oz, we aren't that worried. After all, it is only the equinox. When my power fades, I am not some maiden." And he goes, "I'm sorry, my queen. I only fear for your safety." And she half laughs again. And she goes, "You fear for my safety? Sweet child, I've seen ages before you were born, and will see ages after you fade to dust. You need not fear for my safety. Titania will not march. If she does, she will wait until that of the solstice. She is predictable that way." She gestures at you three and she goes, "However, it would be nice, pleasant even, to have someone go ask my estranged sister why she did not show up at our meeting. It was very rude of her. And while my advisors fear she may prepare for war, Winter stands ready as always." And she changes from pleasant smiles to stern, stoic, statuesque. And as she says, "Winter stands ready as always," you hear the sounds of predators in the darkness. You hear claws tearing into flesh. You hear the biting wind coming off the mountain. You hear the sound of a heart slowing to nothing as someone freezes to death. Perhaps, if you three would accept my guess, one of you three, I may be willing to make an exchange of information for you, sweet lost pilot. That is what you are, isn't it? That is the word I do recall hearing. Pilot this, pilot that, our greatest accomplishment ever.
I let down my hood and take off my base mask.
Yes, of course.
I will do it.
She stands up again and she steps down the stairs. It's almost as if she doesn't touch the ground. She almost appears to float. And she says, "You will? You'll accept this, and in exchange I shall give you information?"
Please.
So yes?
Yeah.
It appears our efforts for information are a little unaligned.
Oh? How so?
What Pilot, or our good friend Ronald, is agreeing to is absolutely blind. From what it seemed, you showed him a little bit of information, yes. But how do we know? How does he know that you know anything more than what you've already shown him?
She smiles and she says, "I know infinitely more than you could ever comprehend, wizard. I've been here since the beginning of time. I've been here as long as there was night and day, and as long as seasons. I've seen everything a snowflake has seen. For I am Mab. I am inevitable. And I will be here long after you fade. And she looks back at Pilot and she says, again I ask, in exchange for information regarding who you are, and trust me, I will hold my bargain. Will you accept this gesh? Will you go to the summer court before the solstice and find out why Queen Titania has not accepted the mantle of power from me?
What is that word?
Mantle of
No.
power?
Gash.
Gesh. That is a good question.
All right. Okay. I was just wondering if it
You
was
want to
just me.
know? Okay, gesh is a word.
Okay.
It's Geas, gesh.
Okay.
Will you gotta make an intelligence check. It's an arcana check.
Not good at that. 6. Yep.
You don't know.
11.
You don't know either.
Intelligence?
It's
That's
yeah,
a-
arcana.
Arcana? That's a 19.
Ooh.
Oh, you know. That's enough. You know that a gesh is a magical obligation or prohibition put on someone. You know a gesh would
Oh, that's what Oathlow
should you
had.
accept it? It could be forcibly put upon you. But if you accept it, you accept it. It is a command that, if disobeyed, comes at high cost. Yeah. Should you choose to disobey it or fail to obey it, will come at a high cost. And she says, should you accept my gesh, you will go to the Summer Queen before the solstice, discern why she did not accept the mantle of power at the exchange, as we are known to do.
And if we decline?
I have offered you my guest right. You are free to go. And she smiles, she goes, but know this, leaving my realm comes at quite a lot of uncertainty without my permission, or without my blessing, I should say.
And if Alfonz wants his answers?
I'm willing to make more than one bargain. And you see that like smile of a predator. There are bargains to be made, and she is willing always. But she comes back to Pilot and she says, again, thrice I ask, Pilot, although I have heard you called by other names, will you accept? Oh, you're not picking up on the mic.
I will go to your sister and ask.
Okay. She says, thrice heard and witnessed. And with that, it is echoing through your entire being, and you feel an immense cold wrap around your wrist. So it's almost the cold of when you touch like in scalding hot water. It's the so hot it's cold, it's so cold it's hot, you can't even tell feeling. And around your wrist, you see encircled a band, almost as if it was a bracelet, almost like tattoos of snowflakes and ice. And you know, in that moment, should you not fulfill your end of the bargain, it will come at indeed great cost. The other two of you, as she says it, she says, "Thrice heard and witnessed." It echoes with a deep boom, as if thunder itself spoke those words. In the deepest of caves with the deepest of echoes. And she smiles. And then she looks back at Alfonz and she goes, "Now, what answers could I possibly give the lost wizard?"
Is that a question?
Yeah, that is a question. She wants to know, like, you could, she's willing to make bargains. That is what you were getting from her, is gladly. But she's getting the one thing she wants from Pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is going to come at a completely different.
The only thing that I would be interested in is the ability to go home.
Ooh. And she gestures beside her. She steps out in front of you. And she gestures beside her. And a doorway opens up, and it looks like a doorway into space, into the night sky. And she goes, "My realm touches every aspect of the material plane. You could go home now. Through this doorway. But only with my permission." And then she snaps it, and the doorway is gone. Open space again. And she goes, "But that would be an incredibly large cost, dear wizard. What would you be able to offer me to pay that cost?"
As it stands, my allies are my traveling companions. So it seems we will be visiting your sister together. What would you deem equal to such power?
She like thinks about it. And she goes, I see a lot of potential in you. Very much potential. I think I would take that in exchange for allowing you home upon your return. I would take all of your potential, and you would just be you. Or would you? Without the power to bend and twist the universe at your fingertips, would you still be Alfonz?
It's like you read my homework that I didn't submit.
We'll leave that up to you to decide. You have some time. And she looks at Ilikhal. She comes back over to you, Ilikhal, and she goes, "There's much I could offer you as well. You could be my knight. You can stay here with me. And Oz. And the rest of my court. She gestures around. And in that moment, you notice the room is full of people. From elves to dwarves to gnomes to various fae. They're all in here. Just they all seem almost ethereal, almost ghost-like. Almost as if this is taking place adjacent to something else. You could stand at my right side while Oz stands at my left. I could offer you much power. Although you seem to have a lot already. And of course, there's much magic to be had as well. And again, you feel that control that you feel over the wild magics. You feel control over it. You don't feel like the wild magics just happen. You feel like you could summon any of them at your own will. But I'll leave that up to you as well. As long as you're traveling with the pilot, we'll allow it.
And my cost?
Your cost is in the benefit. You would be my knight. You would be here with me. To be a member of my court is no small thing.
Yet you offer it freely.
Those that I find intriguing, wizard, I do.
Get roasted.
To those that stand up for Winter, and she holds her hand up, and you feel the brooch disappear from your collar, and she pins it on Ilikhal's leather, like the leather strap, across his breast. To those that have been good to my daughter.
Now you wait just a minute. If you're all seeing and all knowing.
See, no.
No.
She doesn't accept that. In a moment, you wait just a minute and your lips freeze shut. And she goes, I'm sorry, I don't believe I asked, wizard. And I do not accept those who would talk back to me in my home. And she allows it, and you feel like it's like instantly having the most chapped lips you've ever had, and then it melts.
Prestidigitation, I'm fine.
Prestidigitation. Should I add the snowflake brooch to my inventory?
You can't for the moment. You have it right now. She knows. She knows who stood up for Winter.
I don't think either of us stood up for anything.
Ilikhal
I voted for Winter, as it was like, no, it's still Winter.
Winter time.
Yeah.
It is still winter. The calendar says so. The winter court should be in charge.
Yeah.
I didn't take a side.
Exactly.
Well,
You can take her side. That's what she cares.
Winter's stinky anyway.
It's almost as much of an affront as taking the other side.
Winter's stinky.
You're a
And
bystander, Kay.
Yeah.
Mm.
And she says,
My actions resulted in Winter winning.
No.
and
Yeah.
equally could have resulted in summer winning.
Could have been. Exactly how weather
You
works.
chose to not change the course of the trolley.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, if you weren't involved. You weren't responsible.
and she like looks at Ilikhal and she goes, I'll leave that decision to you. She goes, thrice you may call on me, should you wish to answer. And she goes, but I'm such a rude hostess. Of course, of course. You've probably heard so many stories of the evilness of the Queen of Air and Darkness, of Mab herself. And she says, and I wouldn't want some summer rumor to spoil my hospitality. And she claps twice, and behind you, an entire table filled with a banquet appears. She goes, please, eat, drink, all as my guest, and you will be able to leave when you choose.
I'm afraid the road is long.
Fair enough. And she says, when you choose to go, and she does a spiral at the edge of the court, becomes a circle of snowflakes etched on the floor around the mosaic. She goes, please leave through there. Pilot, since you have accepted my gesh, you will return at the same time you left.
I look
wanna talk
past
to-
her,
You want to
and
talk to?
I want to talk to the other drow. Like,
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
your
that's fair.
son bared a mark that allowed him passage into the realm of the Summer Queen.
Yes.
How would Pilot go about doing that?
Well, you will need to find a gateway. The messenger's gateway that my son supposed that you've described will no longer be there. We are aware of few that are stable always, such as the mirror that you passed through to get here. Supposedly, there is a gateway within what they call the Kingswood of the Northern Reaches.
That
In our
is a very wide area.
It is a fairly obvious passage. It is overwhelmed by summer nature. You will find greenery and growth and warmth in summer fae. And he points at the brooch, and he says something in Sylvan, and it's, Alfonz, you understand it to be a word for guide and compass. And he goes, your mark shall pull you in that direction. Your not your mark, your would be a good way to call it. Your emblem, your
Symbol?
symbol. There we go. Because it's not a mark. It's not on you.
Yeah.
You will feel the pull should you get close. And the queen looks at Pilot and she goes, you should feel the pull all the ways now. And she reaches out and she touches you on the wrist. And you do feel it. It's a cold pull. Like it's a warmer, colder feeling in a direction.
Right, what did Pilot agree to exactly?
She agreed. They agreed. She, Saph, they, Pilot, agreed to, before the solstice, to attend the summer court and find out why Titania did not accept the mantle of power as she was supposed to.
In return for information about their past.
Yes.
How do you spell Titania's name?
Guess.
T-I-T...
Tit.
Q...
Saph and I's brain.
T-A-T... Titan. T-A-T-A-N-I-A. Titania.
Okay.
Titania.
I'm just trusting you guys are writing good notes.
Summer Queen, Winter Queen, Gate in Kingswood.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably in that little
Um,
clearing right in the middle.
Do you think it's that giant tree that's maybe in the middle of the map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It'll be obvious.
I want to talk to Oz. What is his name?
Oz, yes.
Oz? Okay. What is your service to the Queen like?
He looks very. It's a weird question. He looks stern and he says, "My family has served Her Majesty for as long as I am aware. I do what she wishes. And in return, I get to witness the power of winter itself." That's really all he's gonna say. Like,
Okay.
it's not.
Yeah. He's not
He's
gonna
not a really
ditch.
talkative guy anyway.
Yeah.
You're kind of picking that up anyway. He does a lot of worrying. You think
Mood.
like he's somebody who like actively he's always working. You're getting that vibe off of him. But like he doesn't look like he's tortured to do that job. Like that's not the point of it.
Okay.
And Mab turns around and she returns to her throne. And as she sits down on her throne, that etherealness around you, where there were other people in the room that you felt like you could see all of them, they all come into existence. There's a banquet table across the center of the room. And there's noise and there are people and music, musicians. There are 4 musicians playing pipes and strings, and there's a vocalist singing in this Sylvan tongue that none of you understand. Alfonz, you hear it. It's a ballad about the equinox. And there are individuals dancing, eating, and drinking, and talking all around you. And a circle of snowflakes ready for your exit when you choose to.
Look over at Alfonz and Ilikhal and ask them if they need to rest before we move on.
We don't need to rest, but I want to talk. I just want to go up to a random person, like
Okay.
dancing or something, or at the table.
Yep. You go up to a random person. These 2 people are closest. They appear to be chatting. They're two Fey individuals. They're both very tall. They're pale skin. They have pointy ears. They almost look elven. They look like the difference between human and elven. If that was a dial, it looks like you take that dial and you crank it up beyond elven.
Greetings. My apologies for interrupting. I am Ilikhal.
Beverage, and they go, "Hello, Ilikhal." It's there's a woman and a man. He just kind of says, like, he just kind of nods.
What is your role here, if I may ask?
There's like a chuckle, and the lady looks at you and she goes, our role, we're simply the she. We've been members of the court for quite a long time. They're members of the court. That's they appear to serve as much as a subject of a king has a role, as much as the subject of a queen has a role. They're just members of the court. They could be nobles potentially.
What is it like here?
And like she takes a sip of this. It's like it looks like she's drinking from a wine glass made entirely of ice. And she takes a sip and she goes, "Cold?" This is your first time here, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh. Poor thing, must feel so lost. She goes, "I could show you around." In that moment, you feel like a tug, and like as if you were about to be charmed. And Mab stands up. You hear an immense silence as Mab stands up out of her chair. She goes, "These are my guests, Lianshi." And the being shrinks and shrivels a little, and you feel that presence that was starting to tug at like your big heartstrings, your big Goliath heartstrings. You feel that presence disperse, and you feel the enchantment of a charming presence or a charming spell release, and then you're like, "Oh, hate that, don't like that at all." Like all of your nerves are firing danger, danger, danger.
Yeah, I head back to the group.
Okay. Head back to the-
Perhaps we should leave now.
Any other warforges in here?
There are not. They appear to be all she and a few other races, but like nothing, no warforged, no pilots.
That's SIDHE.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
pilot's got a little marking on
Yep.
your wrist to get through the
Good catch.
gate. Ilikhal has the brooch I don't want back. So I'm going to be left in the Kingswood and not be able to get through the portal.
No, that is
No.
no. The you just have nothing that's tugging you towards the portal.
Yeah, the
As far as
brooch-
you're aware, you can go through it.
Yeah, it's not a messenger's portal. It's like a permanent portal, like the one we got here.
Oh,
and
okay,
that's what
okay,
she
okay,
explained.
okay.
Yeah.
Because you came through, the three of you came through
Yeah.
with just the brooch before.
Mhm.
You do not need it. It appears there are only few places where multiple people can get through
Yeah, like permanent.
into the Feywild at the same time. There are few permanent doorways,
And
but
the
lots
one
of
we went
temporary
through was
ones. Like
one
you
of
guys
them.
could go searching for a summer gateway somewhere, and
But
just
then
hope.
maybe only pilot could get through.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
only one gets through.
Is there any business keeping us here?
Absolutely none.
I turned to
Alfonz
head
looked
towards
very-
Go ahead, Seth.
I was just gonna ask Kay if Alfonz is very disgruntled.
He doesn't like her attitude. I understand
You
that she's an
sassed
all.
her.
I honestly, if she was all knowing and powerful, she would have known that I helped in deciding that she won. And
No,
I
you
want to
didn't,
see the
though.
other side.
Objectively, you didn't.
I did. Mm.
No, yeah, objectively you didn't. You didn't choose her. You just chose a system that by chance chose her.
You did a coin flip.
Like the
Yeah,
passing
she's making
of
that
the
distinction
sun.
that you're not on her side
That's
because
fair.
you weren't. Yeah.
Um,
I turned to
She
head
would
towards
be
the snowflakes.
potentially. She would be like a little like she would be quite differently hostile towards you had you actively chosen Summer. But it's not. This is a different type of hostile. Do you're choosing to head the way out?
Yeah, Ilikhal is heading towards the snowflakes.
Okay.
I stay behind just a little bit longer.
Okay. Alfonz?
I'm not going to step through until everyone's
Right,
there,
of
but
course.
yeah.
Nobody's gonna consume food or drink or anything like that.
No, I've heard about eating fairy food.
Sorry, she did offer you guest right. She
Okay.
said you are a guest, so you should feel safe. That is something you would know just through folklore.
Okay.
Is the Fae take guest right very seriously? Hence why Mab herself stood up for you
Yeah.
when you were about to be charmed. Pilot
I-
lingers.
Turn to Queen Mab.
Okay.
I bow.
Mhm.
And I look her directly in the eyes and I thank her or I just thank her. And I turn to the group and leave
Yep.
with them.
She inclines her head. She does not bow. She inclines her head to you as a gesture of acceptance of your thanks. You join the group. You step into the snowflakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. Pew, pew, pew. The three of you step into the snowflakes, and you step into the circle of snowflakes etched on the floor, and you appear in a room in the center of a fairy circle in a cave in the dark somewhere. There's a closed chest
Cold.
sitting on the ground. Actually, the chest is gone. We'll say that. The chest is gone.
Oh, I was gonna open it.
The chest has been removed.
I
No.
quickly hurry back.
Big stretch.
Yeah.
Kitty.
Oh.
Okay. You were back in the cave. Kira, you hit it with your tail.
Alfonz down.
You're back in the cave. It's the cave you
Yeah.
left into the realm of the Feywild of.
Yeah, I guess we head back the way we came. Like,
Mhm.
You head through the door. There's up a tunnel. You enter a room with a mirror. You step through into the mirror image of the room. You exit that room into a large room with stalactites and stalagmites. You find
You
the
shatter right here.
what?
Oh, I was making a joke to tell Alfonz you shatter where the stalagmites and stalactites are.
You are attacked by a roper. No, that would be super rude. You walk into a cave, into what appears to be a bear's cave, and you are, as far as you know, in the realm of the normal material plane. You step out of the cave. You leave the cave.
Mhm.
As you step out of the cave, you hear. And in front of you are 6 dire wolves.
oh, okay.
This is not opportune.
This is not. At least we got a long rest in there.